Hello everyone, TLSG here, back again with another daily Marvel Snap video. So you might get tired of seeing me. We are going for a second video for today. With the patch and the way that it shook everything up, I wanted to cover the new card, but I also wanted to cover what decks are feeling really good right now. And this deck is one of them. We used this deck in our recording session. We played a total of 7 games, including the 2 from the deck explanation, I guess this that you're seeing now, and then the 5 games that we're showcasing. We won every single one. The perfect 7-0. Spoilers. Sorry. We won every single one. A net gain of, I'll leave that to find out towards the end of the video, but a very positive amount of cubes that we came out from on these 7 games. I think it's due to a couple of things. This list does pretty good. It's pretty flexible in being able to push an early game, ramp up into a couple of key cards. So even if we don't have Sandman, sometimes just dropping Jubilee is enough to kind of thin our deck, give us some better draw potential. Sometimes she will draw into a good resource herself. And then we have the Leech. I know, we don't like Leech, but he is very effective here. So against Shuri, if we can drop a Leech on 5, they are all of a sudden very clogged. Instead of having to rely on a turn 5 or turn 6 Aero, which still feels a little bit iffy, especially if you don't have Sandman down on the board and they end up skipping on 5 into the She-Hulk and Taskmaster on 6, it is almost impossible to block that. You're going to have to go down to a gut read every single time. With Leech, we can kind of take that out of the running before it's even an issue. And then if you're running into Thanos, you can Leech before they Leech. I feel bad about it, but not bad enough to not run it. It is very effective in this list. I apologize if this list kind of blows up and takes off. I apologize for the Leech play. And I'll add the disclaimer that Leech is not a card that is good in every single matchup. Don't blindly throw it every single time you have it. Use it strategically whenever you know that your opponent is relying on heavy effects or heavy last turn plays, like a Death Wave. You can completely disrupt that and just make it unusable for them. And then the rest of the deck, we're curving into our ramp components. We have the Dr. Doom and the Odin to be able to give some incredible value. We can also use Odin on Jubilee to re-trigger that one, pull out more cards from our deck. So if we're still missing our Dr. Doom, we can use Odin into the Jubilee lane, pull one additional card, and have a fantastic turn in the process. We can also potentially hit Magneto, but that's going to be super niche, and I don't know that I would ever say that that's the right play line, except for in like very rare situations. But overall, it's a very standard Sandman Ramp deck, and it has been phenomenal. If you want to see more of this deck or any of the other decks live, make sure to check us out on twitch.tv/TLSG Snap. We might be live right now, depending on the release time of this video. Definitely jump over there, give us a follow if you are interested in seeing a little bit more live form content. And so with the brief deck explanation out of the way, we're going to go ahead and jump over into a couple of games. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, next up we have Ramyon. The first location is the Vibranium Mines. They are running a Thanos list. I checked their hand size, is how we know. No! So we missed out on a game. This is actually the second game that we've played. The third game that we've played. The second one that we've played with this list that we thought we were recording. We commentated a whole other one and we were on the wrong scene. So, unfortunate. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. So this is going to be, first up we have Ramyon. They're running a Thanos list. We had 2 4-cube victories. If I can fit them both in a deck explanation, we will. But if not, then this is the first game that we're playing with this list. Typically, this list just wants to curve into as high a value cards as it can. And so we're going to be able to do Electro. Since they're running a Thanos list, I'm probably going to Leech. We're not going to feel bad about leeching either. We're going to feel kind of proud of ourselves if we get the Leech off before they can. So the earliest that they can get it without rotating it is going to be on turn 4. We're going to be able to play it at the same time. It would enable our Ebony Maw to be able to be played, and spicy. It does make our Ebony Maw playable. It makes our Magneto, he's fine. It only hurts our Dr. Doom here. It also hurts our Odin, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and we are going to sacrifice. We don't need to sacrifice. We're going to play Leech into mid. We're that confident. They're going to Leech, they're going to rotate it, they're going to rotate into a dud. They're going to rotate into just the Space Stone, maybe? Wow, that is not the Leech. So the Mind Stones come in. They now have some extra cards. They flip into Wave. Oof. So we actually break their Wave interaction as well. The Killmonger is big. So if they're running the Wave, the Killmonger could be a Galactus. If so, if it's Galactus, if it's a Null, if it's a variety of other things, that is unfortunate. I'm sorry, my friend. Not really sorry, but sorry enough, I guess. Let's go ahead and do our Doctor Doom. That's going to leave us with 2 extra energy. We're not going to be able to use 2 cards next turn, but we will be able to do Odin to re-trigger our Doctor Doom. It's going to be 10 and 10, and then a decent power in Asteroid M as well. And so let's see. Unless they top-decked Galactus. No, so it's Thanos. But they top-decked Thanos, so they now still have 2 abilityless cards to potentially try to use. We could try to use Magneto to pull their Lockjaw out of this lane so that they can't rotate their cards. It's a Hail Mary, though. We're going to do it. We're going to do Magneto. We're going to do Magneto mid. That's going to pull Lockjaw, Killmonger, and Wave all here. And then it's going to come down to whatever they play in the other lanes. And so I think we can win Jotunheim. Oh my gosh, they're going to rotate 3 cards, but it's not going to rotate. The best feeling in the world. The Soul Stone comes down. The Time Stone comes down. The Shang-Chi comes down, but they're not rotating any of them. We are going to win left, mid, and right because of Jotunheim doing its thing. We will take the 4 cubes off of the Thanos. That's actually the 3rd 4-cube game in a row. We will absolutely take it. Now that we're on the correct screen, welcome to the video. We've been doing this for a little while now, and we still record on the wrong screen sometimes. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Babby. The first location is Asteroid M. So if we had cards that pulled over there, we could actually play Ebony Maw and then still sneak power into that lane. Might not be a bad way to go about it. I think we're going to float energy here. We're going to let Sunspot absorb. We won't be able to play into Kill and... Ooh, the Kraven is big in Asteroid M. Because any 3 or 4 cost card that we or they play over in either of these 2 lanes are going to get sucked into this middle lane, or to this left lane. So let's go ahead and play Ebony Maw into Kiln. They have a Nightcrawler, so I don't think this is the tech-heavy version that runs a Killmonger. I'm going to run Ebony Maw into mid. If Los Diablos Base ends up destroying it, it is what it is. It's so-so. And then Vulture is going to get yanked over into Asteroid M. It buffs up the Kraven. It buffs up the Vulture. Massive. Beautiful value in Asteroid M. But that is now gone, my friend. So let's see. How do we want to do this? We can't do She-Hulk into mid, unfortunately. We can do it into the left lane. Pretty decent power overall. Next turn, maybe depending on what feel we get, we could do a Leech so that they can't Heimdall. They can't do anything massive. We could even maybe do a Magneto. Wow, they bounce. They bounce their move cards back in. And so now Vulture and Kraven. Vulture's 2, Kraven is 1. Interesting bounce there, my friend. So how do we want to do it? Do we want to Leech? I don't think we lean in on the Leech. I think we lean in on the Sandman instead. If they don't play those cards this turn and they're going to save them, they could play it here and then push it over with Heimdall. We're going to Leech. I changed my mind. We're going to Leech. We're going to use Leech in the right lane. I think they probably drop them here this turn, and then they're planning on a Heimdall shift into Kiln. If they had Heimdall already in their hand, they're no longer going to be able to Doctor Strange. They're not going to be able to move it in that way or that manner. So we have a decent lead here. It's okay here. Let's go ahead and Magneto to the right. That way we avoid pulling the Vulture. We don't want to enable that any further. We won't hit anything else either. And so as long as they didn't top deck a Heimdall, we're okay. But we'll see. The Iron Fist, okay. Into the Polaris. Polaris was leeched, so it doesn't end up pulling our Ebony Maw or our Sunspot, and we're still able to find the win. We have the lead in the left and the right. We will absolutely take it. Let's go ahead and take the 2 cubes. We'll jump over into the next one. That's 4-0 with the list so far. We're up a positive 14 cubes in 4 games. Absolutely bananas. All right, next up we have Stardust. 4x15. They're running a Thanos list, which I'm not a fan of, but that's okay. I'm going to skip with the Ebony Maw. Sometimes it's nice to use the Ebony Maw if you have a very clear idea of what you're playing. Right now, we don't. And so, ooh, New York is actually interesting. We can play Ebony Maw as long as they don't change it, which if we play Ebony Maw there, they're probably going to target that location with a Reality Stone. But otherwise, we can just move cards into New York on the last turn to kind of help pad that lane. And so let's go ahead and do a turn 3 Electro. They are running Thanos, but they haven't flooded their cards. So we're actually all right. We're going to play Electro into Vormir. We're going to let it get destroyed. Next, we will do a Sandman over in that lane or Leech, depending on what we draw. We will be able to potentially skip on 5 into a She-Hulk and something else, depending on what it looks like we need it to do. And so they now have 2 cards on the board. If they're running a Galactus, it becomes tough to counter because we took out the Aero in this version for a little bit lower curve. I think they flood with Leech this turn. I'm going to play Sandman over to the left. We have a higher chance of getting destroyed in the left lane. They do rotate 2 cards. Oof. And so Rickety Bridge. Oh my gosh. Our Sandman is going to get destroyed because of the Lockjaw Reality Stone. No, it's not. Oh my, what a roller coaster whirlwind of a turn. So they had really bad cycles here, like awful cycles, and we are perfectly fine with that. But it saved our Sandman. It went from being okay to not okay to okay again. We're going to do Dr. Doom here. Now, they can only do 1 card per turn, so they can't flood the board anymore. They can just rotate 1 more card, hope for the best. We could do... Ooh, the Devil Dino is not big because they're going to rotate it. Interesting call, friend. Into the Thanos. Big flip. Very big flip. We could do... I mean, we could just do this. So Magneto in the left lane is going to be 12. That's going to overpower the Thanos. Thanos is only 10 now. And so that's going to overpower the Thanos. That's going to bring them down to 15. It's going to bring us up to 17, 18, 19. We should win the left lane. We're going to stack the rest in mid. They do end up retreating. We get the 2 cubes off of the Thanos with the Sandman lockdown, making it difficult for them to play how and where they need to. They also got really bad luck and RNG with the Lockjaw, but we are perfectly fine seeing that. Now that they don't have the just complete power to cheat a whole lot of power onto the board with Quinjet and their free stones, it is going to happen a little bit more often than it did before. Let's go ahead and take the 2 cubes and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Snow 37. No way they're playing Shuri, right? They wouldn't be playing Shuri. It got nerfed too hard. Or not hard enough. It didn't get touched. I don't think the changes had an impact. It's still looking like one of the top decks in the game based on some early stats that I've seen. So I don't know that the Red Skull and She-Hulk change was enough. I'm sure they will have to double back and do it again. We get some immediate value in the Superflow and the Lizard. So they played Lizard there. It turned into Superflow. We can cheat the Shuri onto the board. We want to do that. Shuri into a Sandman, into a Magneto, into whatever. Yeah, we're okay with that. We could also do Leech, but I think we're going to Sandman instead. Wait, they're playing Shuri. Let's do Jubilee. That would be Jubilee into a Leech in the right lane. We're going to do it anyways. We're going to do Jubilee. That's potentially going to hit our Dr. Doom, potentially an Ebony Maw. We can't play in Daily Bugle anymore. Potentially Electro, but it hits our She-Hulk. Beautiful top deck. So they're going to play their Shuri here. I'm sure of it. Let's leech them. If we leech them, they won't be able to Taskmaster. And so then we'll have a chance of winning here and here. And they'll just have the left lane. Like, we have pretty decent value, but the 26 power Red Skull is just not going to be able to be touched. Which is this is why we mainly have the Leech in. It could be Aero, we could be trying to position their cards, but we want to knock out as much value off of their game as we possibly can. And so we can do Shuri into a Dr. Doom, maybe? That would be a 10 power Dr. Doom to the right. It pushed 5 in mid and a little bit more in the left lane as well. It's either we do that or we do a Sandman. So if we do Sandman, then that really restricts them from playing their low-cost cards, so their Zero, their Titania, their Sunspot, to be able to kind of fill in the gaps. But I'm really not too afraid of that. I think we're okay with that. We're going to do Shuri. We're going to follow up. We're going to take their lead. We're going to use the Shuri that we got from them. We also know that they have one of our cards, so also a little bit scary. Nimrod. The abilityless Nimrod, though. Are they running Galactus? Oy. So we have to do the Dr. Doom in mid. They can only play one card. I don't think they can beat us. But it's still scary. This Nimrod, had it not been leeched, I think is a lot scarier. If they Galactus mid, it's just going to be the 2 power. Even though we don't have initiative, I think we are able to seal the game here with the go wide of Dr. Doom. And we do get the 1 cube retreat. I didn't play it aggressively. We got the 1 cube retreat. That is actually 6 in a row. That is actually 6 in a row with this deck. Absolutely insane run so far. We're going to go ahead and jump over into one more and see if we can make it a perfect 7. All right, next up we have Bok Choy. The first location is the Crimson Cosmos, which is decent for us. We're very flexible in this list. We have some low cost, some high cost. We can typically play into most locations. We also have the ability to go wide. So the middle location turns out to be Asgard. On turn, our armor got hit with their Iceman, unfortunately. They do use a Squirrel Girl, so they could be running a Death Wave, potentially. Do we protect the Sunspot? Do we just Electro? It's a tough call. It's a tough call, but somebody's got to make it. We are going to go Electro. We're going to go Electro mid. They could... Ooh, wow, that is unfortunate. All right, so is Bok Choy a bot? I had no response to that. They're running Dracula Zoo, which I think is fine in most cases, but just... They're not going to be able to flood the board, so we get some value and some power there. If we had that one extra energy would be beautiful, but we don't. So... I don't think they're running Killmonger anymore, so instead of armor, I'm just going to skip here. We're going to let Sunswat soak, try to make sure that he is the highest power card in Monster Metropolis, and then we'll Dr. Doom and hope that that is enough to find us the win. The Cosmo counter was huge. Ooh, they played the Red Skull naturally. Oof. Big oof. So this ends up being 6 power in the Monster Metropolis lane, so that brings us up to 15. Is not going to do it. All they have to do is play Destroyer in Asgard, and they just have it. Bok Choy is a bit bold, right? If we do She-Hulk in mid, we do She-Hulk in... Wait, we can't do it in left lane. We do She-Hulk mid. This soaks up 5. That becomes a 14 power. It beats their 13 power, and so then we gain initiative because it's a 3 power slingshot back in our favor. As long as they don't have Destroyer. Destroyer here in Cosmo lane would blow us away depending on what they pull in the left lane. This is what we're going to try. We're going to try She-Hulk soak with our Sunspot with 5. And we're gonna do a little bit of praising. They have 6 cards in their hand. Lots of bad pulls. A lot of 2 cost. A lot of 2 power cards. A lot of 2 power resources. The Khazar. Does the Khazar do it? We win mid. Do we still swing the right lane? We do still swing the right lane. And we lose the left lane ever so slightly. So we took a little bit too long, and it made Bok Choy... I don't know if this is a bot or not, if they just got really, really fortunate with the Cosmo play. None of them have like foil on them, but all of these were decent plays, besides maybe the Khazar on the last turn. We will absolutely take it. That does complete the perfect 7. I thought we had lost that one, but we found a way to make it work in our favor. So that is going to be the perfect 7. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. In the 7 games, we had a total net gain of 21 cubes. That's an average of 3. It's a small sample size, of course, but it's an average of 3 that I've had during these gameplays. Phenomenal run. Incredible run. We're going to go ahead and end the video here. I'd be curious to see how this does on a wider scale. I'm going to be testing this more on our live stream, so definitely jump over and check it out there as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. And as always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.